Begin in child's pose on your mat. Bring the big toes to touch, knees wide, sink the hips to the heels, and allow the arms to stretch forward, letting your forehead rest to the earth. Take these first few moments to settle into your physical body, maybe taking a few deep breaths, allowing the sound and sensation of your breath to draw you inward, and to allow yourself to find stillness here in this moment. And give yourself grace right away to recognize if your mind wanders, if your physical body starts to fidget, become uncomfortable. Let there be no judgment, no expectation. Allow yourself to observe what you observe, to feel what you feel, and to guide yourself back to the breath when you wander too far. If you're already feeling a generous stretch in the shoulders and the chest, you might choose to stay in child's pose. Or for the remainder of this shape, you might inch the arms, the hands forward, allowing the hips to rise up over the knees, draping the heart forward towards the mat, forehead or chin to the earth, or maybe you want to lay one side of the head to the mat. In melting heart pose or puppy dog pose, allowing a deeper stretch through your chest and through your heart these last couple of minutes. Maybe these last few breaths here, you can soften and deepen into your stretch, grow just a little heavier. Take a full deep breath in And as you exhale, slowly shift the hips back, walking the palms under the shoulders, releasing the stretch through shoulders and chest. And then finding very slow and gentle movement up onto your hands and knees. Maybe you want to take a cat-cow stretch, arching the back towards the sky before lengthening the heart forward and dipping the belly to the earth. Setting up for runner's lunge. Left foot steps outside the left hand. Stretch the right leg longer behind you. Both hands are inside the left foot. Take a deep breath in to lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, lower down inside your left leg. You might be able to bring your elbows, your forearms to the mat. If not, maybe you need a block underneath your forearms or a blanket to prop yourself up. You also might have the flexibility, the range of motion here to stretch the arms forward, dipping your head towards the mat. Find the shape, not that is necessarily comfortable, but where you can be still, where you can still breathe very deeply and calmly with a soft face and gentle eyes. Now you will be here for a few minutes, so recognize and honor where the body is allowing you to soften. You might not stay in this exact shape the entire time. You might observe after time that you need to ease a little bit back out of the pose, propping a block or fists under the forehead to support the neck. You also might find with breath and patience, your hips start to release and soften so that you can deepen into the pose. Maybe your left knee wants to splay a little bit wider to the wide edge of the mat, coming onto the knife edge of the left foot. Or maybe the foot stays planted, nice and neatly stacked. Allow yourself to listen. Allow yourself to be malleable, to change as you need to, as your body asks you to. In these last few breaths, notice if you can grow a little heavier or if you can soften. Taking one more full breath in and full breath out. Gently start to plant the hands underneath you, rise up in the torso. And then stay with the left foot forward. Start to inch it over to the opposite edge of your mat. Preparing for a half pigeon stretch. Your shin stacks to the top of your mat. Take a deep breath in, lift and lengthen through your heart. As you exhale, lower down to the elbows. You might come all the way down, stretching the arms center in front of you, Or you can take the option here to thread your right arm underneath the left armpit for a gentle threading of the needle, adding a twist to your half pigeon stretch as well as compression through the right shoulder. Listen to what your body's craving, what your body needs, and come right back into softening with breath, letting your body melt towards the mat. Notice where you are. If your mind has wandered or if you've begun to fidget, take a breath in to settle. If you had taken thread the needle of the right arm underneath the left armpit, you might choose this last minute or so in this shape to weave the left arm behind the lower back body, reaching for the bind of your big left toe. Just another option to open through shoulder, through heart center, or find wherever it is that you can deepen into this shape these last several breaths. Full breath in, full breath out. Very gently and slowly begin to make your way out of your shape. If you had taken the bind, the left hand behind, bring the palm to the floor first before rising up in your torso. Gently lean onto your left hip, coming to your seat and facing the wide edge of your mat. Stretch your legs out long to either direction. Lift and lengthen through your heart and start to hinge forward at the hips, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. You might prop your elbows or stretch the arms in front of you, or take your block or your blanket underneath your chest to support the fold so that you feel you can release all tension. There should be no gripping, no effort to hold yourself up here. Same thing for the neck and shoulders, especially if you need to prop your forehead on hands or a block. Allow yourself to be supported where you can soften around that support, soften into the earth. And again, remember that over time, the body will adapt and start to shift, maybe in an effort to ease out of the depth of the shape, maybe with a releasing of muscular tension and gripping, where you're able to get a little bit deeper into your body or the shape. And the only way to know the difference between the two and what you need is by staying present, by coming back to observe as sensations come and go, as thoughts come and go. There's no task or goal here. There's nothing to fix, nothing to accomplish. Simply being aware of your moment enough to give yourself what you need to keep arriving into this space, one inhale, one exhale breath at a time. Breathe in and breathe out. Take your time, very slowly and gently. Start to press your way up out of the fold, walking your hands in towards your body to lift up in your torso. If you had any props or blankets, you can remove them off to the side of your mat. And then you'll readjust yourself to face to the back of your mat, coming into the right side for a lunge. First coming to tabletop, bring the wrists under the shoulders, knees under hips. If it feels good, take that same cat-cow stretch from before, dropping through the belly, then arching into the back. And eventually step the right foot forward outside the right hand, stretch your left leg long behind. We've been here before, just on the other side, runner's lunge. Take a breath in, lengthen your spine before breathing out to lower down to your forearms. Maybe the side is similar to the first, where you have the same range of motion, stretching the arms out long, or keeping yourself propped on elbows or a block or blanket. But recognize too that this side might be different, that we're all perfectly imperfect, carrying imbalances within our body, different strengths, different weaknesses, different tendencies to maybe strain one side over the other. So come right back into observing where you can soften into this side. It might look different. Come back to your breath and ease in where you can, even when it gets maybe a little uncomfortable. Not only for your body, but for your mind to be able to stay within the stillness. Still here, these last few breaths. Come back if you've wandered, if you've started to struggle against the shape. Soften where you can, even if it's just within the face, the eyes, or the jaw. Take a full, deep inhale breath. Full exhale breath. Release any tension. And then plant the palms under the shoulders to slowly and gently rise up in your torso. Remember to keep this foot forward. You'll start to inch it over to the opposite edge of the mat, rearranging the shin to stack towards the top of the mat. Keep the left leg long behind in your half pigeon shape. Breath in, lift and lengthen through heart. Breath out, start to lower into your half pigeon. And even if it's a little different in how deep you can come into the shape, do try to match the modification that you took the first time. If you threaded the arm underneath the opposite armpit, the left arm will go under the right this time. Or if you had the arms center in front of you, allow them to stretch out where it's comfortable for you. Sinking right into softness and breath once you arrive into that shape. you were in a threading of the needle in the upper body, you can take this last minute or so to reach the right arm behind the lower back for the bind of the big right toe, inviting the opening through the right shoulder, the heart and chest, or simply deepen into this pose these last few breaths where your body calls you to. And give yourself one more full round of air in and out. Take your time to slowly release. If you had the bind, bring the right palm to plant first before propping up through the upper body. And again, shift onto your right hip as you come up through your seat. This time, rearrange your legs long on the mat, coming back to face the front. Toes will be flexed towards the sky. We're setting up here for Paschimottanasana, a simple forward fold. You can put a block or blanket under your hips if you know that your hips are particularly tight in the hamstrings. Or you might grab that blanket or block so that as you lift and lengthen through your torso and hinge to fold forward, you can stay propped under the heart and chest or the forehead with that prop. Maybe you need no prop at all. Find your forward fold. And if you notice that your instinct was to reach for the toes or the ankles or the calves to grip and pull yourself forward, take a breath in, lengthen from the base of your spine forward through your heart. Lift and lengthen from your torso. And then exhale, deepen, release any gripping, release any strain. Let the head be heavy, the neck and shoulders soft. And start to feel your breath expanding into the lower back, the side ribs, all the way into the upper back, the heart and chest last. Following that gentle wave of in and out breath. Give yourself a gentle reminder that over time, the body will adapt, will shift, will start to move, even on a micro scale. So recognize if you're able to re-lengthen forward, to deepen into your fold, if maybe you even can remove a prop that you had started with. Or if the shape stays pretty much the same, remind yourself to bring your attention back to breath. Remind yourself there's no goal, but to be right here and present. Take one full deep breath in. Full deep breath out. Take your time, moving gently and slowly to start to come out of your fold. Moving like you were 100 years old. If you had any props, you can remove them. If it's your blanket, take your blanket now and roll it lengthwise so that it's a long roll, hot dog style. And you'll come to place that behind you onto the mat, preparing to lie down on that blanket. It will be perpendicular to your body, right underneath the tips of the shoulder blades. So when you lie down, your legs will be stretched out. You'll be able to relax the backs of the shoulders towards the earth. Your head is supported by the earth. You don't want the roll of the blanket in the smack dab middle of your spine, like it's pressing beneath the ribs. It should be up underneath the ribs, closer to the shoulder blades. So think upper thoracic spine extension here. And then you might take these first few moments feeling where you need to adjust the pelvic floor. You might step your feet in to adjust the tailbone further down away from the blanket, from your shoulders. You might even feel good bringing your feet to touch and your knees splayed out, giving a gentle opening through the hips, or you can keep your legs long. You can also find variation in the arms. You might have the arms stretched out like a T to either side, just opening gently through the shoulders and chest. You could also cactus at the elbows, or even clasp hands behind your skull, inviting that stretch in whatever variation through a softly opening heart center. In these last few breaths, remember here the opening of your heart, completely soft back body. Take one more full deep inhale breath. Full deep exhale breath. And to exit this shape, gently and slowly step the feet in if they were long, roll onto the left side of your body in order to come off of the blanket. Just taking a moment on your side, knees in close to chest, using your arms as a pillow. Eventually coming onto your back, remove the blanket out of the way. Take a moment, hug the knees in towards your chest, maybe gently massage the spine, rocking gently back and forth. And then plant your feet in close to the hips to slightly lift the hips and shimmy them over to the right, dropping your knees to the left in a spinal twist. Keep the right arm outstretched or cactus to the side. You might also choose to wind up your legs right underneath left to deepen the stretch through the right hip. Or you can keep the knees parallel to each other, simply melting over to the left side. You can also keep the neck neutral with your chin over the chest, or you can drop the chin over the right shoulder, inviting a gentle stretch through the neck as well as the rest of your spine. Let these last few breaths here soften you into this shape. Remembering, just as in the beginning, to fully arrive one breath at a time. And take your time to unwind gently. You might windshield wiper the knees side to side or hug the knees in again for a gentle squeeze and rock. Eventually plant the heels. Maybe you want to take a bridge back bend before shimmying the hips over to the left side. Dropping knees over to the right, either wound up in the legs or parallel legs. This time your left arm stays extended. Your chin is neutral, or if you took that gentle stretch the first side through, you'll let the chin fall over the left shoulder. Take a full inhale breath. And with your exhale, grow heavy into this side. Last few breaths to soften in. And gently, slowly unwind from the twist. Again, feeling that organic movement, swishing the knees side to side or hugging in close. And then do hug the shins in. This time, grab a hold of the arches of the feet with both hands, or slide your peace fingers around the big toes as you glide the knees in towards the armpits for happy baby. And spend several deep breaths, stable and still in your happy baby stretch, letting the tailbone grow heavy to the mat, like you are ironing the spine to the earth, your head, neck, and shoulders completely relaxed, softening down. Every exhale, an invitation to notice if you can soften deeper through hips, tailbone, shoulders, skull. And what you might need these last few moments is to stay in your stillness, to drink that in, or maybe you're craving stretching one leg long at a time or both together. Maybe you're just craving rocking your happy baby gently side to side. Explore what you need, listen to what you need in your body these next several breaths in preparation before your final resting shape. And in the next several breaths, you'll make your way into that final rest. Maybe you want to cover yourself with your blanket before stretching your legs out long. Maybe you want to take a full body stretch, extending the arms overhead away from your big toes. But you'll land in your corpse pose with your legs extended out, your arms either down alongside you, or maybe one hand to heart, one hand to belly. As you give yourself one more full, deep inhale breath. And as you exhale, release any need to observe, any need even to stay present as you fully surrender into full rest, Shavasana. Come back to your breath first. Maybe taking several deep inhales and exhales before gently wriggling into the toes, into the fingertips. Maybe it feels good to take again a full body stretch, arms overhead. Eventually make your way onto your left side body, knees to chest, using your lower arm as a pillow. Drinking in the connection and energy from your practice today. And slowly begin to prop up to your seat in order to seal in your practice with gratitude. You might find hands to heart center. You might find a few organic movements as you rise back out of your resting shape. Eventually find that shape, that mantra, hands to heart or in front of the heart maybe, that brings this practice in for you with gratitude, and seal it in. Namaste.